evening from beautiful Treaty 6 territory. I'm Melissa Ridgen here at the World Indigenous Nations Games. After 2 intense days of basketball, we have a champion crowned. Out of the 4 teams that remain in the final, all were from Alberta First Nations. Tom Fenario has the winner.
The WIN Games basketball tournament may involve nations from around the world, but the Final Four turned into a battle for Alberta First Nations basketball supremacy.
I mean, that's how basketball is. You have a rivalry or you form a rivalry. And I'm pretty sure we formed a rivalry today.
On this day, 19-year-old Omisa White Bear and Team Masquatchee had plenty of opportunities to make rivalries. Playing on their home court, they played 3 straight games. First up was Team Siksika, a Blackfoot team. Led by university player Tyus Hunt Yellowhorn, it was a back-and-forth game.
There's always some type of rivalry. I actually played against a couple of those guys in high school. So for me, it was a little more personal.
But Hunt Yellowhorn's heroics were no match for Masquatchee's superior transition game. Almost immediately after the game, Masquatchee was back on the court in the semifinals against Team Treaty 6. Masquatchee was intent on avenging a loss from earlier in the tournament.
But that second game, we actually lost to them, and I was like, no, we ain't losing this game. We ain't losing this game.
Treaty 6 played a strong rebound game, but Omisa White Bear would not be denied. Treaty 6 point guard Darian Alexis says Masquatchee benefited from being warmed up by their prior game.
Yeah, I think that helped them because we had a break, and then so we really had to just relax, and I think that played a factor in our performance.
But for the finals, Team Masquatchee was up against their greatest adversary yet. Team War Scouts is an all-Cree team from the Edmonton area. They've been playing together for years, and it shows.
Beforehand, I was told about the medallions, the beaded medallions. So for me, I just wanted one of those. That's what I said. I was like, I'll play if we get a beaded medallion out of it, yes.
Legrand led the way with precision shooting and passing. Masquatchee played it close for the first quarter, but the game got away from them in the end. War Scouts won the tournament with an 81-40 score. Afterwards, Legrand had nothing but praise for the WIN Games.
I'm just really excited about it, and I think it's cool to be in one of the first ones and to be able to win it. Going forward, I hope it grows into something like the Commonwealth Games or something that's unique in its own respect that way.
Omisa White Bear says he's proud of his team's second-place finish. For him, the experience makes it all worthwhile.
The WIN Games are crazy, man. I loved it. I loved every minute on the court, even on the bench, you know. The excitement was so great. I mean, I got goosebumps just talking about it.
The WIN Games basketball tournament made one thing clear. When it comes to producing grade A Indigenous ballers, Alberta First Nations are leading the way.
I mean, it's basketball. Gotta love it.
Tom Fenario, APTN National News, Ermineskin First Nation, Alberta.
A hot, dry western day was the perfect setting for Indigenous Games Rodeo. Participants vied for cash and also valuable circuit points. Chris Stewart had front row for that.
Gates open.
Ermineskin Cree Nation hosted a rodeo for the World Indigenous Games. It started with bareback riding. Steer wrestling followed. It was a tough outing.
These guys got to be mentally and physically prepped. He's got them right out in front. Come on, Cash, get some of it.
Junior steer rider Cess Salto took home first place with a great showing.
It was fun. I really enjoy riding these steers here.
You won!
I know.
What's it feel like?
It's really good, I guess.
How long have you been doing this?
This is my 4th year now.
4 years? How old are you?
I'm 13.
How many times have you won?
5, including now.
Is this something you're going to want to do forever?
Yeah. Well, not forever. Not till I get old, but I'll be doing it for a long time.
Former world champion Lloyd Chalafu is still competing. His kids are following his boot prints.
I raised some champions myself. I've have a barrel racer that won the world in 4 years in the Indian Rodeo. I have a bareback rider, Lloyd Jr. He rode bareback for a number of years. He stands 6'8". And I have another boy steer rider, Quentin Potts. He won every circuit from BC, Alberta to Saskatchewan.
Now his grandchildren are competing.
And I got Traven Bear, he riding junior bulls now, and then I got another little wee grandson just starting today. His first ride today, and he looks like he's going to be a good one.
His grandson, Weston Potts, competed today. You remember the old saying, "This isn't my first rodeo"? Well, for Weston, today is his first rodeo. He almost made the 6 seconds.
All I seen was the steer and then hit me right in the thigh, and that's when I just thrown off.
That's okay. We'll get it next time.
Yeah.
To do your thing, and he says, I'm outside.
Yvette Lightning brought her family to the rodeo. She's a recent convert to the sport.
Oh, yes, I love it. I never really used to watch rodeos, but I don't know, once you start watching it, I guess, it's interesting. Yeah, I would never do it though, so I would never get on a bull.
Close they can get to the fence. Let's watch. Looking head on that thing, and that.
Lloyd says the next generation helps inspire him to keep competing.
I am very excited. I've been rodeoing for 4 to 5 years now, and sometimes I want to quit because sometimes I get up in the morning. It takes 10 steps for me to straighten out. But when I see these little kids riding, doing good and winning money and stuff, makes me so proud, and I just want to keep going.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Ermineskin, Cree Nation.
We've got to go to a break, but coming up after, we've got demos from New Zealand and tasty treats from Indigenous chefs. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Maori haka is a war dance meant to intimidate enemies, but it also captivates crowds around the world. Willow Fiddler has this.
The Maori have captivated audiences around the world with their haka. The dance is intense, passionate, and loud.
It's a war dance, but it's an intimidation method towards your enemy. When our ancestors and our people went to battle, they would do a haka before they go, to get the blood going, to get the energy up there, ready to go to war.
Fitu Rangihaeta is leading the Maori delegation at the World Indigenous Nations Games. He says the haka is not just about war.
Haka is a form of our identity. We live it, we breathe it back home, we do it day in, day out. We're born into it, and we'll die doing it when we go beyond.
The Maori shared some of their traditional games with local people on the Musqueam Nation. It's become clear that the Win Games are about more than just competing.
The full reason we've come here is to share our stories and our songs with our First Nations brothers and sisters.
Kurt Buffalo is from Samson Cree Nation. He may not have been dressed for it, but that didn't stop him from learning the haka.
I'm in my cowboy boots and jeans, my hat, and I was out there. I thought, well, you know what? Instead of talking about it, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
He wasn't the only one. Several men and young boys joined in. Buffalo says it can be intimidating, but there's more to it than that.
It's about being prepared to protect your family from threat, is what I see. And the facial expressions that they teach you, they're not easy either. But you know, there's a reason why they do that.
Rangi Hayeta says the haka boils down to one main thing.
We're very passionate about it because we're proud people. We're proud people, and whenever we go anywhere, we hold our heads up high because we're proud of our country.
The haka wasn't the only hit the Maori group shared.
We taught them some games in Maori, papaki rere. We taught them poirako, which are the long string poi. We taught them poirako is with sticks. Poitoa is with the long stringed poi on the ends.
Jaden Johnson is from Musqueam. She took advantage of the opportunity to learn something new.
It's a lot like many of our sports combined together. It's like kickball, soccer, hockey. Yeah. It was really fun. High intensity.
Jacoby Buffalo, also from Musqueam, says the Wind Games gave him a chance to see the world right here at home.
It's a pretty big experience, you know, because it's kind of hard to see the world, and then you can see the world in our community, and like, you know, it's pretty amazing.
They're asking for a little more about who we are, where we come from, what our beliefs are, and what makes us who we are. And I think the interest is reciprocal. It goes both ways. So I'm excited about that.
Willow Fiddler, APTN National News on the Ermineskin Cree Nation.
We have an extended interview with the leader of the Maori contingent we just saw in that story coming up later in our show. Canadian Olympic hero Clara Hughes, a multiple medalist in cycling and speed skating, took time to join competitors in the games. I caught up with her at Enoch First Nation.
I'm here on Enoch Cree First Nation to just watch and learn and be inspired by the World Indigenous Games, and actually here is an honorary tribe member of Siksika and honorary coach as well, so I have a little bit of sporting experience, so hopefully I can just pass on something to these amazing young athletes and from all around the world. This is an amazing thing.
What do you think of what you've seen so far with the events?
Well, what I like is just the feeling of community, of culture, of connecting, and you can really feel this here. I did Olympic sports, and so often sports are just, you know, man against man, country against country, and you really feel a connectivity here that I've never felt in Olympic Games. So I feel really honored to just participate as an observer, as a spectator, to grow and learn as a human being from this experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've done this before. Tests of athleticism and agility weren't the only things on the menu here at Wind Games. Numerous Indigenous chefs got together on the Enoch Cree Nation to share tastes of their culture. Here's Tamara Pimentel.
Hola! Victor Hugo learned to cook by watching his grandmother in the kitchen, using local ingredients from his home in the mountains of Oaxaca.
I'm cook with my roots, with my culture, with this type of food, of ingredients here. Tradition is the heart, tradition is the family.
Now Hugo lives in Edmonton. He co-launched Lamar Land and Sea, a food truck bringing Indigenous Mexican culture to Alberta's capital.
How's it going, Chef? Good, how are you?
He, along with 11 other chefs, gathered on Enoch Cree Nation.
So they're out there cooking for you tonight?
They were chosen by Chef Shane Chartrand to cook their traditional foods over open fire and shared their roots with over 150 people.
We make memelas. It's a tortilla made with corn, blue corn. On top we make a cactus, Mexican cactus, nopal, and the people was very crazy. I was sold out in 30 minutes.
We're hunters.
It's all part of Red Talks, a speaker series that empowers youth and expresses World Indigenous views. This is the first time Red Talks visited a First Nations community. Curator Cowboy Smith thought it was fitting to hold a food-themed event here on these lands called Muskegee, the land of medicine.
We're all subject to, fast food, processed food, MSG, all those things that are going to perpetuate the pandemic that we face in Indigenous communities, like diabetes. What we're trying to do is bring back, the coolness of healthy food. We're trying to bring back the frequencies of the land.
And our ancestors chose this place when we were forced on reserves 100 years ago because this was a special place for medicine picking for certain foods and for certain plants that we used to lose.
Then came a feast, a mixture of foods from all over the world with nothing but compliments to the chefs.
I was not expecting to have scallops or eel.
All of the chefs are featuring something that's relative to their heritage.
We're able to all come together and experience all of these different cultures together.
And for Hugo's Mexican dish?
Beautiful cactus that's been cooked and Mexican cheese. Beautiful.
When the people try it, your roots, your heart is very comfy for me. I'm very happy.
And he hopes he inspired other Indigenous people after sharing his culture on these sacred lands. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Enoch, Cree Nation.
Panel discussions continue every day here at the Wind Games to discuss issues of importance to Indigenous cultures around the world. Josh Grummett stopped in on one discussing economic sovereignty.
While the athletes compete here at the Games, elders and experts are discussing issues important to their nations. On the docket for this panel, economic sovereignty.
When the chief said did he say he was going to renegotiate again? And I thought that was such an excellent move when he told his people that he was going to continue.
My dad, as a 32-year-old leader, said, "Thank you, Montana, but we're a sovereign nation, and you can watch us. You go to first strip mine."
Russell Stansover comes from the Crow Nation in Montana. He tells the story of the mine that has helped sustain his nation.
Yeah, historically in the 70s, we were the lead in the state of Montana. My father was the chairman of the Crow, and we were led into, by his administration, into being the first organization to strip mine coal when the state of Montana imposed an extremely high severance tax on coal mining, strip mining. We challenged that as a tribe, the leadership back then, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won. So we went ahead and did the first coal mine, and that coal mine has sustained, since the mid-70s, the tribal government.
Marvin Littlechild is an elder from Ermineskin First Nation in Musquechies. He talks about why economic sovereignty is important.
It is very important for us now in the future of our kids, and we're actually, what we're doing now is we're just paving the road for them.
The panel discussions continue today and tomorrow at the River Cree Resort Hotel near Edmonton and elsewhere in Musquechies. Josh Grummett, APTN National News, Enoch, Cree Nation.
Well, time for another break. Stick around. We still have lots more from the World Indigenous Nations Games on Treaty 6 territory. Welcome back. APTN's Willow Fiddler caught up with the leader of the Maori delegation to get an explanation of that almighty haka.
It's a dance where you get to express yourself, all the energy and all the power towards intimidation. We have a saying back home, mana whenua, mana moana, mana tangata, which simply means, power to the land, power to the people, power to the water, power to everyone, So we're those type of people. So whenever we do the haka, it just becomes natural to us. It just becomes, this is part of us. I am the haka is me, kind of. So that is me. I am my mountain is me. My river is so-and-so. I am the river is me. We cannot get away with it. In our songs, we talk about our mountains. In our haka, we talk about our lands being confiscated. We talk about our land that we grew up on. We live it and breathe it every day. we will never forget what happened in the past. And the way we remember that is we haka it, or we sing about it, or we draw stories about it, or we do Māori designs like that one that reminds us of things. Now this tells me about my grandmother. You know, we've got, I don't know if you can just see it, but these things tell us stories. That's how we remember, and that's why we will never forget who we are and where we came from. And that's why we're very passionate. We're lifelong learners at the end of the day, and there's always something to learn. And we're learning from our First Nations brothers and sisters here at the World Games. We looked at the in First Nations people when they came in with their beautiful colours and their headdresses and bright yellows, bright greens, bright pink, and we watched them and they just, we were so proud of them because they're the First Nations people here that they're just so proud of their identity dancing around, and we could not help but dance with them. We're learning from them about their passions, about their struggles, and how we can help them, how we can put a hand on the shoulder and say, it's all right, we're here to support you in whichever way we have. I've just met a man for the first time, and he's told me a little bit about himself, so we've become friendship, we've become brothers for life, you could say. And we're here to support each other. The people here have shown us so much. You know, we're actually taking a lot with us rather than us giving a lot. I think we've learned humility. I think we've learned how to be confident in ourselves, how to listen. So that's that's their thing. Our thing is the haka. We love it. That's why we're here, is to share it. Because everyone in New Zealand is passionate about identity. And for us Māori, we're unique. We're unique to anyone else. There's only one Māori in the world. You know, one identity of Māori in the world.
Well, that's what we've got for you today. Please join us tomorrow on our website, aptnnews.ca. We will be bringing you a webcast of tomorrow's events. We'll also be on hand Sunday at the closing ceremonies. That's it for me. Have a great night. I'm Melissa Ridgen.
Mama's putting up a fight. Oh, Ethiopia.
Gates open.
Or today, or at any point.